Welcome aboard, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, welcoming you to another live edition of Fire Your MD Now, where we roll back the curtain on the absurdities of conventional medicine in dealing with chronic diseases and talk about the unheralded benefits and, quite frankly, possibilities inherent in holistic medical therapeutics, with an emphasis on holistic medical nutrition, with an emphasis on the medical nutrition developed and delivered by the Youngevity Company through the agency of Dr. Joel Wallach, the world's leading holistic medical expert on nutrition. I mean, Wallach was in charge of $25 million of federally funded research from 1970 to 1982, conducted over 25,000 autopsies, 10 million blood chemistries and histopathologies. It was a 10-year labor of love, the result of which is in the Smithsonian Institution now. And this book, this research epic, written by Dr. Wallach, rewrote our understanding of the relationship between nutrition and optimal health. Dr. Wallach literally wrote the book on medical nutrition. So if you are frustrated with conventional medicine, if you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, if you know that there must be a better way, well, you have just found it. If your son or daughter wanted to play hockey and you had the choice for exactly the same money of hiring Wayne Gretzky or your high school hockey coach to teach them, who would you hire? You would hire the king, Wayne Gretzky. Well, it's the same with holistic medicine. If you're up against it, and if your health is suffering, which everybody's health seems to be these days, and you know that there must be something better to do, then it would perhaps be prudent for you to lean on the world's leading expert on holistic medical nutrition, Dr. Wallach. That's what I would do. That's what I would do for the first 90 days. I would take Dr. Wallach's advice and run with it 100%. And this is what we do here on this radio program mostly. We talk about Dr. Wallach's foundation boilerplate medical nutrition for the masses. It's medical nutrition for the masses. This is the idea here. We don't need individualized medical appointments, private appointments with holistic physicians. Sometimes you do, but most of the times you do not. Most of the times, the only thing that's necessary is to give your body a chance. Give your body the raw materials that it needs in order to function optimally. The research concludes there are 90 essential nutrients, 90 nutrients that the body needs in order to function optimally. A nutrient is classified as essential if the body needs it, but the body cannot make it. There are 90 essential nutrients which are optimal for your body to function the way that God and nature intended it to. But the nutrients necessary, the 90 essential nutrients, are not present in the food. They are not all there. Some of them are there, but they're not all there. So it is mandatory, in order to give your body a leg up, to give your body a fighting chance to optimize its structure and function, it is mandatory to feed your body the 90 essential nutrients. They are not present in the food chain. So this is what we bring to the table, a recommendation for boilerplate foundation medical nutrition interventions, the intention of which are to support and promote healthy hearts, support and promote healthy lungs, support and promote healthy kidneys, support and promote healthy brain chemistry, joint function, so forth and so on. Quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, we've been culturally conditioned to believe a number of myths, things that have just become reality by consensus, reality because everybody believes it to be so. Myth number one, your MD is the undisputed king of the domain of medicine and everybody else is a back of the bus quack. The only people that practice medicine are the MDs. Everybody else practices alternative medicine, which is tantamount to saying that the only real dog is a German Shepherd and all other dogs are alternative dogs. It's nonsense. Myth number two, healing is a complicated, sophisticated process which can only happen in multi-million-dollar high-tech facilities. It's nonsense. Surgery is complicated. Surgery is complicated. Healing is easy. If you cut your hand, do you have to tell your body what to do to fix it? secrete fibrinogen and upregulate T helper cell response and upregulate macrophage response time? No. You don't even know what that is. You just keep the darn thing clean and it fixes itself. Well, this is our whole position. Your body has intelligence given to it by virtue of the spiritual force which inhabits the body. I don't care what you call it. Call it a soul, call it a spirit, call it the vital force, call it the key. I don't care what you call it. Whatever it is that brings light to your eyes, whatever it is that leaves the building when you die, is bringing to the building intelligence and is running the show. Our bodies are so smart, they grew themselves all by themselves from a tiny single-celled organism into us. Now, do you think if the body has the ability to grow itself, it has the ability to fix itself? Well, every holistic physician in the world argues yes, absolutely, positively it does. Every MD in the world argues no. Because MDs are trained in the antithesis of holism, which is reductionism. Medical doctors are not trained in holistic medicine. Medical doctors are trained in reductionistic medicine. Reductionistic medicine is really great and best suited for trauma, surgery when it's absolutely necessary, and when you are attempting to kill things like kill bugs, right? Bacteria and viruses and microbes, yeast, mold, parasites. That's what reductionism is good for. Surgery when it's necessary, trauma care, and a handful of infectious diseases. But reductionistic medicine, when applied to a holistic organism, attempting to interface with a chronic disease is a fool's errand and should be avoided completely. And this is why we have such unbelievably piss-poor health outcomes all around the world. It's because we've taken the wrong dog to the hunt. We've brought a body suffering with a chronic disease to the office of a reductionistically trained MD. And that's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster. You know, the MDs, by virtue of their training, it's like a football team that doesn't have a passing game. All they do is run the ball all the time. That's all they do. Every once in a while, they're going to score. But if they don't have a passing game, they're going to end up at the bottom of the league. And so it is with the MDs. While we've given our trust to the MDs practicing reductionistic medicine, our health has gone to hell in a handbasket. Alzheimer's has risen from obscurity to become the 6th leading cause of death. Autism used to be 1 out of 10,000. Now it's 1 of 89. Obesity, 33% of American adults are obese. It's skyrocketed in our childhood population. It is an epidemic of biblical proportions, thanks to the MDs. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease accelerating, cancer, no cure in sight. After nearly $1 trillion of research money started by President Richard Nixon in the 60s. You know how much $1 trillion is? It's a lot. So the MDs fail, and they 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 fail, and we keep giving them money. Because we don't know any different, and we've all drunk the Kool-Aid that the MD knows what's best, and just by virtue of the fact that they went to reductionistic medical school, they have the secret decoder ring to all things medical, and everybody else has substandard, back-of-the-bus, alternative quack training. That's what you've been taught. My profession is only licensed to practice medicine in 18 states in the United States, which means it's illegal for me to practice medicine in the majority of the states in the United States, which, again, is tantamount to passing a law which says, well, the only people that can sell hamburgers in your state is McDonald's. Nobody else gets to sell hamburgers there. The only people that can sell jeans in your state is Costco. You want a pair of jeans, you got to go to Costco. You wouldn't put up with that. But you do put up with that when it comes to medicine, and you suffer because of it. But because this is such an overarching national, international phenomenon, the monopolization of the medical marketplace by the MDs, because they have been in the driver's seat for so long, you actually think they know what they're doing, even though they fail you consistently. Now look, You're welcome to your own opinion, but not your own set of facts. The leading cause of death in the United States, MD-directed medical therapeutics. 780,000 people a year are killed by MD-directed medical therapeutics. That's more than die from heart disease. That's more than die from cancer. The leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States, MD-directed medical therapeutics. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pour ice water over our heads and give the MDs tens of millions of dollars to come up with a cure for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis when, under their stewardship, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis shot through the roof. I mean, that's like giving the guy that sank the Titanic making him an admiral of the fleet and giving him charge of, all of the, he's the admiral of the Navy. He's in charge of everything now. He sunk the Titanic, but that's okay. We're going to give him a pass. You see, the socialization here is so utter and complete that we miss the obvious. And it's right in front of our face. It's right in front of our face. MD-directed medical treatments are the leading cause of death, and while we've given ourselves over to the MDs, our health is getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. But because they're everywhere all the time, and because they've out-legislated everybody else, because they've put my colleagues in jail, because they've slandered the chiropractors, because they defame every other medical profession in the world, they remain in the catbird seat, backed by pharmaceutical money, which is gigantic. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all time we collectively woke up. If you're suffering with a chronic disease, the best possible thing you can do is fire your medical doctor and get on board with science-based, clinically verified, holistic medical nutrition for the masses. And that's exactly my job. Stick around. Thank you, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here. Now, knowledge is power, and we need perspective. We don't have any. Remember, I said that the MDs, by virtue of their training, are, they are not equipped at all to help you recover from chronic disease. As a matter of fact, they are not even trained to be concerned with what causes your disease. They are only trained to be able to manage it. Case in point. I'm taking this information. I'm reading what I'm about to read you from ALSA.org. ALSA.org, the ALS Association Research Program website. Here is a list of the research that has already been funded for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. This is where your money has gone and is going to continue to go. The average volume assured pressure in ALS patients with nocturnal hypoventilation, a randomized crossover trial. So they're looking to see what happens to the volume of air in the lungs of people with ALS. ALS and airway clearance. Is there a best therapy for airway clearance in patients with ALS? This means when you have ALS, your voluntary muscles stop working. So most ALS people suffocate to death unless they're on a lung machine. So the lung machine breathes for them because they can't breathe anymore on their own. So rather than try and figure out what causes ALS and what to do to fix it so that people don't get it, or even, dare I say, attempt to cure it, they're doing research about how to deal with the effects of ALS. A randomized crossover study of standard and low expiratory pressure NIPPV in ALS patients. Again, they're researching how ALS patients respond to different lung machines. How ALS patients respond to different lung machines. Isn't that great? The measurement and treatment of respiratory impairment in patients with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Again, they're not concerned with what causes it. They're not trying to figure out what causes it and how to cure it. They're just attempting to figure out how to manage patients better so they can keep them alive longer, so they can bill their insurance more. The effects of a strengthening program on the maximum voluntary isometric contraction, functional abilities, fatigue, and quality of life in patients with ALS, which means if you have ALS and you go to the gym, is that good for you or is that bad for you? Again, no concern whatsoever with what causes ALS or how to cure it. randomized, placebo, crossover controlled trial with Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, marijuana, for the treatment of cramps in amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. They don't care what causes it and how to cure it, but they want to know whether or not marijuana can help reduce the effects of cramps that people get. Isn't that just a great way to spend your ice bucket money? Personal hope and the family milieu, impact on medical decision making and the quality of life. That means, how long are we going to leave Grandpa in the hospital before we take him out and take him off the lung machine and he dies? How long are we going to do that? Optimizing the lung machine use for patients with ALS, modifying nutritional therapy in ALS patients with changes in respiratory status, factors which affect the quality of life in the caregivers of ALS patients, diaphragm training in amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. You've got to be kidding me. This is where your money's going, ladies and gentlemen. This is where your research money is going. Again, we must understand, I'm not making this stuff up. Conventional medical practitioners, by virtue of their grounding in reductionism, and your MD is not trained in medicine, they're trained in reductionistic medicine. Reductionistic medicine argues your body is a biochemical bag waiting to break, and that when it does break, it is not the physician's duty to figure out how to fix it. It's the physician's job to manage your symptoms. Your medical doctor can't even cure heartburn. They can manage it with the little purple pill, but they can't cure it. Now, do you think if they can't cure heartburn, they're going to be able to cure ALS? No, they're not even looking for a cure. And quite frankly, when they do actually attempt to look for a cure, they get that backwards too. I'll be talking about that on tomorrow's radio program. Ladies and gentlemen, stop throwing money into a dry well. ALS research money given to a reductionistically trained doctoral, a PhD, or an MD is a fool's errand, and it is a waste of money. Stop it. Bad dog. No biscuit. Stick around. So much more to come. We're back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. 54 people in the chat room, 57 people watching on YouTube. Now, if you're a new listener or a new viewer, you may be a little, I don't know, your mind might be twisting right now around its axis. Because, you don't know what you don't know, and the stuff that I'm talking about is so far outside of most people's reference ranges that they didn't even know that. We tell people that butter is good, that oil is bad, and their head explodes. We tell people that salt is good, and their heads explode. We tell people that exercise is bad, and their heads explode. We tell people to stop eating wheat, barley, rye, and oats, and they run into the woods screaming and sobbing in despair. In any event, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. By the way, I don't screen any calls. I have no idea what my callers are going to say. All I can see on my screen is their name, where they're calling from, and a short little blurb. Let's go to Seattle and talk to Ileana about a testimonial, and I'm going to, hopefully, you'll be able to hear firsthand what actually happens when people get on board with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. Remember, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Let's go to Seattle. Hey, Ileana, thanks so much for the phone call. You are live.
Good afternoon, Dr. Glidden.
How are you?
I am doing so much better than when we spoke when you were here in Seattle.
All right, great. So bring the listening audience up to speed. And have we spoken since? Have we spoken since before, since I've been back from Seattle at all?
No, this is our first moment speaking since you spoke in Seattle.
Okay, great. So I'm on the edge of my seat. Tell the audience where you were then and where you are now.
Okay. Well, you were quite a good listener, and that's, for me, a really big difference between holistic health care and the MD care. And you wrote down a few notes, and I'll bring them up to date on that. I was experiencing bloating, constipation, and diarrhea, an extreme hunger that was sort of like an out-of-my-mind kind of hunger all day long, irregardless of what I consumed. I would wake in the morning exhausted, as if I hadn't slept in a week. I was thirsty all day long, despite drinking 10 to 11 cups of either my Youngevity drinks or water. And my weight was stuck, I believe, because of inflammation, even though I dropped my calories low to try to get my weight loss, which had been successful in the past, to get it back moving again. Historically, I've lost about 110 pounds already with good foods, bad foods, inflammation, and Youngevity. And I was just kind of stuck and feeling rough and wasn't sure what the problem was. We had to talk about that.
Yes, we did. I remember. But look, I don't want to just brush over the 110 pound weight loss. I mean, that's epic. You lost 110 pounds?
At my top weight, I weighed 352 pounds.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
And I got that way by listening. I got that way by listening to my MDs. They said, eat a lot of healthy grains and don't eat fat. And that made me really, really huge and really, really sick.
Crazy. So, I mean, that's awesome. All right. So you dropped 110 pounds and your health is progressing. Things are brightening up for you. But then you got stuck. We have a little one-on-one chat a couple of weeks ago in Snohomish, Washington. And where are you at now?
You recommended that I try several adjustments. One was a homeopathic called Pulsatilla Nigrotin 1M.
Yeah.
I ordered that, and it came, and my entire community celebrated the day it came in the mail, as they were tired of seeing me not feel my best. There was much joy and jumping and screaming, and they couldn't wait for me to put the 3 pellets in my mouth, which I did. Had a big night that night. I put the pellets in my mouth. I was worried about getting through a really important social event. I was going out with my dearest for her birthday, and we went ahead and went out and had a lovely time. I had enough energy that this exhausted me that had been waking up after 8 hours sleep, unable to feel like I could get to the bathroom. I was so tired. I had enough energy that night after the Pulsatilla Nigrotin dose to, at 10:30 at night, after a full day, several full days of caring for children and working in my business, which I love, but lots of work. At the end of the day, I'd go out with Neff for her birthday. And at 10:30, she hadn't had a nap, and she was, like, ready to turn in. And I was like, let's party till dawn. I'm ready to take you dancing. Let's go do some more fun things.
That's remarkable,
great.
Isn't it? I know. It's crazy.
Yeah. One dose, Doc.
Gotta love it.
You also recommended that I reduce my selenium intake.
Yeah.
See what that would do. For 1 week, I took 1 selenium in the morning and 1 in the evening. And I don't understand why, but the hunger is gone. I'm maintaining very well on 2 or 3 small meals, depending on how much exercise I get per day. They're very well thought out, good food meals. And I'm, of course, taking all my supplements. And I am, for the first time in this entire journey around my weight loss, I am experiencing something other Youngevity people have described to me. And I had faith it might happen for me one day. But living it, Dr. Glidden, I'm so full of joy right now. I feel like I'm going to explode like fireworks on the 4th of July. I make a meal, and instead of pain and constipation and diarrhea and bloating and social awkwardness, my daughter can soft boil me or scramble me a few eggs while I'm helping somebody figure out their protocols for Youngevity who's excited about this like I am. And she'll just bring me a few eggs. And I feel like $1 million, and it's enough. And I might have more than I need and send the rest back for someone else or for compost.
So simple tweaking of the Boilerplate Foundation Medical Nutrition Program was sufficient to the cause to get you over the hump and bring you back into the land of the living. So your energy's back, The distress after eating meals is gone. The intense gnawing hunger is gone. Your energy is what most people would consider normal now. And all of a sudden, it's as if a train which was derailed is now suddenly back on the tracks, rolling down the tracks, gaining ground on the destination in sight every single solitary day, just from a little tiny tweak here or there. Is this what I'm hearing?
Yes, wait, it gets better than that, Dr. Blinn.
All right, I'm still sitting down.
I regained some of that 110 pounds that I've lost, and I've been determined, pig-headedly determined to solve my lack of information because, you perish for lack of knowledge, I've heard.
Yeah.
I was determined to figure out what I was doing wrong or right or what I need to just shift a little so that I could get that weight moving again. And I am a strength and conditioning coach who assists other people in fine-tuning their nutrition so that they can have these experiences that I'm having. And I couldn't figure out what to do to get my weight shifted. I know lots of tricks that are healthy and in harmony with the body, and not one, not all of them together before you spoke to me were working. I was very frustrated. But since you've left, since the couple days before you left, I had a little idea, and you added some ideas. Something has shifted because in 17 days, I've lost 3.4 pounds of that inflammation, and I feel different. I think different. I move differently.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, the best is yet to come, Ileana, really. You have such a remarkable health history. You have such a remarkable story. Someday, I'd like you to call in and just tell the listening audience your whole story, because in the world of Longevity Nation, you are in the top 5 people of just remarkable, jaw-dropping, mind-altering testimonials. No kidding. My hat goes off to you. I appreciate so much your trust. I appreciate so much your hanging in there when the going got rough, and instead of abandoning ship, understanding, right? Knowledge is power. And there just had to be something that needed to be tweaked, to something, a little screw tightened here, a little bolt unloosened here, just a little bit of massaging the protocol, and you did it. You took my advice, and it worked. And what I really would like to underline here for the listening audience is that the recommendations that I had for Ileana were based on like a 10-minute conversation. It was not in the context of a private office consultation. We didn't need to do diagnostic stuff. We didn't need to do blood work. We didn't need to do any type of diagnostic discovery. Why? Because healing is easy. Healing is easy. Your medical doctor is playing you. Quite frankly, your medical doctor just doesn't know how to help your body fix itself. You don't need, in most cases, thousands of dollars of diagnostic discovery and hours of times in the physician's office. You just need a little bit of understanding. Look, when you cut your hand, someone needs to teach you and tell you need to keep it clean and put a bandage on it. And that's all you need to do. That takes, 2 minutes? Well, guess what? The information that I have on my website, Dr. Glidden's Insider subscription service, if you go to my website and become an insider, it's $20 a month. It will be the best money you have ever spent in your life towards getting your health back. Because does medical insurance do anything to support and promote the health, structure, and function of your body? No, it does nothing except give you access to the leading cause of death in the United States, MDs. So look, folks, follow Ileana's lead. Become educated. It's easy. If you can pass the driver's license test, you're smart enough to figure this stuff out because it's not complicated. It's easy. Healing is easy. Surgery is complicated. Ileana, you are the best. You rock. Say hello to everyone in your life for me. Continue the good fight and call us anytime. I appreciate everything that you do. And listen, your community needs you more than you know. So, just hang in there. Keep on doing what you do, and the best really is yet to come.
All right, Dr. Glidden, I have one instruction you gave me for a little follow-up lab work, and it is scheduled. I would like to call you back after that and tell you how things are going again.
Yeah, awesome, because, we need a little bit of objective discovery here every once in a while to make sure that we're on the right road. Was that the blood sugar or the thyroid stuff I wanted you to do?
Yes, both. They are scheduled and will happen in the first week of September. And
Great.
After I get those results, maybe about mid-September, I'd love to call you again, tell you how we're continuing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll look forward to it, Ileana. Keep up the good work in the great state of Washington, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, has an awesome law covering naturopathic therapeutics. Did you know that in the state of Washington, as a naturopathic physician, I can deliver babies, perform minor surgery, prescribe drugs, how about that, work in hospitals, call myself a physician, order any diagnostic test that I want, and it's all covered by insurance. Washington State is extremely progressive and always has been in their support and promotion of naturopathic medical therapeutics, which is juxtaposed against Illinois, where not so long ago I was sued for $5,000 by the Illinois Department of Professional Regulation because I had the word doctor on my website. Unbelievable. You think we have a free medical market? Think again. Snap out of it. Take your head out of the sand like Ileana and everyone else in Longevity Nation has done, and get your health back today. Love testimonials. Love Longevity Nation. It really is quite remarkable. Folks, if you had any idea of the things that I've seen people recover from with naturopathic medicine, homeopathic medicine, applied foundation, medical nutrition, people would be lined up to talk to me. And it would take, I'd have a waiting list 5 years long. Because this stuff is not this. We're not talking about a miracle cure panacea. We're not talking about that. But what we are talking about is new-fashioned, science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition formulated by the world's leading expert on medical nutrition. And that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. I mean, look, by cleaning up the water supply, by having public sanitation, and by having the government subsidize food production, we doubled life expectancy. That didn't involve going to a doctor or having any type of medical treatment. So when you give your body the right nutrition and you stop eating the 10 bad foods, guess what? You take the next step towards longevity. And I'm going to be talking about that Thursday night. This Thursday night's webinar, that's tomorrow night. Having a webinar tomorrow night. Free for the world, anti-aging, a free webinar for the world. Go to drglidden.com for details. It's free, and that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Patty from Georgia is up next. Hey, Patty, thanks so much for the phone call. You are live.
Yes.
Hello, Patty. Thanks for the call. How can I help?
Yes, I recently found out that I have fibroadenoma, which is like a fibrocistic glandular benign tumor in my breast.
Yeah.
And the doctors recommended to pretty much take it out. But I've been doing research, and I've learned that even though I would have a surgery, there's always a chance for it to come back again, and it's more, and there's a high probability of it coming back. So I was wondering what is another method that I could get rid of it without actually going under surgery.
Well, you don't need to go under surgery, right? And this, you're smart, and what you just talked about really underlines a very important point to ponder for people in the listening audience. The tumor, whether it's benign or cancerous, is not the disease. It is the result of the disease. The high blood pressure is not the disease. It is the result of the disease. The arthritic joint is not the disease. It is the result of the disease. The funky nerve in amyotrophic lateral sclerosis is not the disease. It is the result of the disease. But the MDs, because they're trained in a reductionistic method, don't care about that. They see a tumor, their job is to cut it out. They see an arthritic joint, their job is to cut it out. But you're absolutely right. The surgery does nothing to eliminate the cause of the disease, right? It's like painting over the mold in your basement with paint. And even if it's Glidden paint, the mold's going to come back because you have to fix the water intrusion into the house, right? I mean, that's just common sense. And you would think that people who hold themselves up in the community as the champions of medical science, as the champions of human suffering, would know this. You would think it's elementary, but they do not know this. And this is a problem. So you are absolutely positively right. Now, interestingly enough, there's been some very interesting research done about this. Green tea is very effective at supporting and promoting healthy breast tissue, and I believe that the mechanism there is the antioxidant mechanism, right? Green tea is loaded with antioxidants. On my website, drglidden.com, I have an insider subscription service. It's $20 a month, and I have over 200 hours of archived health webinars that I've done. You have access to, immediate access to. I did one webinar on antioxidants, and I'd like you to become an insider and watch that, because you need, in my opinion, 100,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day, 100,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. You also need a little bit of extracurricular nutritional help, and we're up against a hard break. If you can stick with me, Patty, I'll bring you up at the very top of the next segment. I appreciate your patience. Hold on. We'll be back after these commercial messages. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Peter Glidden, and this is Fire Your MD Now. Welcome back, Jack. Patty from Georgia has been kind enough to stick with us over the break, and we're going to bring her back right now. Patty, are you still with me?
Yes.
All right. All right, good. I appreciate your patience. So let me line this up for you. But remember, the webinar that I did, there's only so much I can say in 3 minutes, right? I did an entire hour-long webinar on this subject. You need to watch it and check it out. Okay, so oxidative damage makes things decay, get old, and die. Food goes bad because of oxidative damage. Fruit gets moldy and gets rotten because of oxidative damage. Iron turns to rust because of oxidative damage. Oxidative damage is everywhere all the time. It's happening in your body right now. And we believe that one of the mechanisms that leads to the formation of fibrocystic tumors in the breast is too much oxidative damage in the body. Now, in some people, oxidative damage goes to the breast. In some people, it goes to the kidney. In some people, it goes to the right knee. In some people, it goes to the left shoulder. Nobody really knows why it goes here, there, or anywhere in different people, but it's the same mechanism. It's oxidative stress, oxidative damage. Your body has a fire department that it uses to handle oxidative stress and to put the fires out before tissue becomes destroyed. So one of the major players in your body's fire department is the trace mineral selenium. Selenium, you need to be taking selenium, and I'll tell you how much in just a second. In addition to selenium, it would be prudent for you to ingest food and nutritional supplements and beverages which are high in antioxidants.
Okay.
Antioxidants, right, are measured by their ORAC score, ORAC. Your recommendation would be 100,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. And I don't care how you do that. So, what's your current body weight, Patty? How much do you weigh right now?
170.
Okay, so here's what I would do for 3 months as an aggressive nutrition program to support and promote healthy breast tissue. Okay, I would get 2 Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquids. The name of the product is called the Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid. I want you to get 2 of those. 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium, S like Sam, E, L like Larry, E, N like Nancy, I, U, M. 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium. And if there's still money left in the bank after that, 4 bottles of something called Z Radical. Z Radical. Z like zebra, Radical. If you can't afford 4 bottles, get 3. If you can't afford 3, get 2. If you can't afford 2, get 1. If you can't afford any, don't get it. But you need at least 1 Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid and 4 bottles of selenium. You need at least 1 Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid and 4 bottles of selenium. And of course, you, me, and everybody else are also advised, please, to stop eating the 10 bad foods. And interestingly enough, we are of the strong opinion that one of the leading contributors of oxidative stress to the human body, wait for it, olive oil. So we don't recommend you use any oil whatsoever. Eliminate all oils. Oils in a bottle are considered one of the 10 bad foods. So even though it might be kind of a hard concept to wrap your head around, we believe that oil in a bottle is one of the major contributors of free radicals, which cause oxidative stress to the body. So our advice, stop eating all oils completely. There's 9 other bad foods you need to stop. You can get that list for free on my website. So that's what I would do, right? I would take those supplements, I'd alter your diet, and I do it for 90 days, 3 months in a row. And remember, Patty, that from the holistic point of view, everything is connected in the human body. So even though, right, we are attempting here to support and promote healthy breast tissue, if you choose to go with this program, then look to see, while you're on the program, what happens to everything else, right? Your mood, your energy, your sleep, your appetite, your bowel movements, your menstrual cycle, your sex drive, everything. Because this is a fundamentally holistic program, and the intention here is to have positive impacts across the board, because that's how holistic medicine works. And remember, we want to see results. We want to see something positive happen in the first 4 weeks. So give it a run. Give me a call back whenever you feel so inclined, and tell me how you're doing with your progress.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Glidden.
All right, Patty, I appreciate your patience, appreciate your trust. Thank you very much for the phone call. Canada is up next. Someone's allergic to the sun. Oh, my God. Do you know what that means? We have a vampire with us right now, a vampire. Daniel from Canada. So, yeah, vampire? I did not know this. That's my German vampire. That's my Nazi vampire. So, you cannot go out into the sun, yeah? What's going on, Daniel? It's the second hour, so Dr. Glidden gets a little loopy. Bear with me. Appreciate the call. How can I help?
Hi, Dr. Glidden. Very good. Very good impression there. I don't know. She told me that she has problems with the sun. When she goes to the sun, she gets rashes and itching, and she cannot go in the sun. And she's diabetic. She also had a facial paralysis.
Oh, yeah. Bell's palsy?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you want to watch the webinar that I did as an insider on ringing in the ears, because it's the same mechanism that causes facial paralysis that causes ringing in the ears, we believe. This is our belief. It's the same mechanism. It's osteoporosis of the skull. I had Bell's palsy years ago when I was in my early 20s, way before I knew anything about any of this, and I suffered needlessly for a long time because of it. So if there wasn't a stroke involved, then facial paralysis most of the time is caused by osteoporosis of the skull, so she would need bone and joint support, right? Yeah. With blood sugar issues, type 1 or type 2 diabetics, she needs blood sugar support. That's the sweeties. And this reaction to the sun, she needs, of course, skin support. I think her body's trying to turn itself into a plant. I think that the lack of nutrition has shifted the metabolism of her body. I think that she doesn't have enough copper in her body, and that the hemoglobin is starting to get funny. Honestly, I'm not being tongue-in-cheek here. I think that her body is starting to adapt differently to the stress of life because of lack of nutrition. So, the recommendation here is, number one, eliminate the 10 bad foods. Number two, eliminate any extracurricular sugar. So for 90 days, I would have her avoid fruit juice, fruit leather, honey, maple syrup, agave. I would just go carbohydrate clean, man. I wouldn't have any carbos, even if they're gluten-free. Now, a lot of people can't do that, but that's my recommendation for her. Go carbohydrate free for 90 days. Plus, of course,
not even vegetables, huh?
Yeah, meat, protein, eggs, fish, chicken. Well, no, she can have vegetables. I misunderstood you. She can have vegetables.
Cooked vegetables. Okay.
Cooked vegetables, no problem. But
great.
no grains,
Okay.
no rice.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. So I think the least expensive program for her would be one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, 2 selenium, 1 Sweeties per 100 pounds of body weight per month. You might want to throw in some plant-derived minerals as well. A bottle or two of the plant-derived minerals, that would be a good thing to do in her case. Or you could just give the Cal Toddy instead of the plant-derived minerals. That would be probably a better thing now that I think it through. So give her 1 extra bottle of Cal Toddy a month and see what happens. And remember, right, that people that have this many things going on in their body, right, and she has a number of things going on, it's kind of like her body is snowballing out of control, and the body is trying to adapt and to do many different things, and it just doesn't have any reserves to do it, right? It's fighting for its life, and things are going a little haywire here. And so because this is such a comprehensive breakdown, she's going to need to be on this program for 6 months before she judges it up or down. And please counsel her to be aware of her mood, her energy, her appetite, her sleep. And what I would have people like this do is write down all of her symptoms on, like a piece of legal paper. Write down all of her symptoms on one side. And then once a week, she puts a little date, makes a different column for each week, and puts a date at the top of each column. And once a week, she checks in with herself and gives each of those symptoms a grade. 10 being shoot me now, and 0 being completely gone. Because once this program kicks in, because she has so many things that are wrong with her, it's entirely possible that she will forget the things that she's recovered from. And this happens all the time. But if she has a running list of her symptoms, she's less likely to do that, and she's more likely to maintain the discipline to the glorious end here. And this is going to be a long haul for her, but we judge the effectiveness of the program by small victories every couple of weeks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense. Yeah, thank you so much. I tell people to write down how they feel, because after they forget,
I know they do. And I just be aware, Daniel, I wouldn't be around this woman's house when it's a full moon after midnight, because I think she's a vampire. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you. Vampires are among us, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by your neighborhood MD. With conventional medicine, when conventional medicine goes bad, what do we get? Vampire. Stick around. So much more to come. Appreciate your tuning in and turning on. Vampires amongst us, what next? Werewolves? Sasquatch? Oh my God. What's the world coming to? Robin in Charlotte, North Carolina is up next. Hey, Robin, thanks for the call. You are live.
Is that you?
Hey, Dr. Glidden, how are you?
Well, I'm good, but I'll get better, God willing, and the creek don't rise. What's going on in Charlotte?
Well, we miss you here. I have a guest on the line from Oregon who wanted to ask you a couple of questions.
Okay, well, I'm
About
sitting down, so let me have it.
Okay. Miss Nancy?
Okay, Robin, tell them what it is. It's thickening of the heart.
Oh, you have a thickening of the heart muscle. Which chamber of the heart has thickened?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, Lord.
All right. Did you? It's interesting, right? They're not going to tell you. So they're just going to. Oh, you have thickening of the heart. You have thickening of the heart. Be very afraid. Be very afraid. So what did they recommend that you do?
Well, what they did to my husband, he is 60 years old, and we just discovered it a few years ago from a heart rhythm
Oh yeah.
from one of the physicians. He's in the operating engineers down here in Oregon,
Yeah.
and he has to have a physical every year
Yeah.
to keep his license. And they
Right.
detected a heart murmur about 3 years ago.
Yep.
So they sent him to the doctors, and that's what they told him, that he had that cardio, however you say it. And the last test he had, and they didn't even give him any numbers, they just said it's quite a bit thicker. So they put him on a blood pressure pill to slow down his heartbeat, but he's so tired, and he works on a tower crane, and he has to walk up 130 feet every day. So he's very tired. So I want to know what to get him on, because it doesn't look good because it's gotten thicker in just 3 years.
Well, this
So
is
how do we
called
get rid of-
hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and this illness actually. Does that sound familiar? Did they say it's hypertrophic cardiomyopathy?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a really interesting history with this illness. This illness was actually discovered in pre-World War II Germany, because remember, back in those days, the Nazis were all about creating the master race, right? And they were really into athletics and, doing lots of research and discovery around how to make the human body function better athletically, right? They were like, this was a big field of discovery for them.
Okay.
And the German scientists, doctors, discovered that by a gigantic statistical margin, members of the population who had enlarged hearts were athletes. They actually called it athlete's heart before they started calling it cardiomyopathy. The original term for this diagnostically was called athlete's heart, because people who were, athletically oriented, people that were athletes for a living, right? They would get this condition way more than the average Joe on the street. They also discovered, interestingly enough, that it was caused by a deficiency in the trace mineral selenium.
Okay.
So now, right, there are many nutrient deficiencies that the average person on the street has some type of a grasp of, like, for instance, iron deficient anemia, right? That's an iron deficiency. Rickets, right, is a calcium and vitamin D deficiency, right? A vitamin D deficiency, and so forth and so on. Well, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is a selenium deficiency, period. Your husband's deficient in selenium, and the MDs don't know this, and this is a problem, because this is a really relatively easy thing to get on the other side of. And, they figured out how to fix this in pre-World War II Germany. So, which begs the question, well, why do I know this and your medical doctor doesn't know this, right? So
Amen.
that's a whole nother subject. I mean, this is why I have a job. So the recommendation here is we have to, of course, give his body selenium, right? But if we just did that, we wouldn't get as good results as we would if we gave his body selenium and the cofactors that the body needs to absorb and metabolize and use the selenium, right? It's kind of like, if you're making a cake, you don't just use flour.
Right.
You need the egg and the yeast and the sugar and the water and the milk and the cream and the butter. You need all this stuff, right? So the recommendation here to support and promote healthy cardiovascular function in your husband would be, how much does he weigh, by the way?
About 190 something.
Oh, that's easy then. So we would do 2 Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquids, 2 of those. Healthy Body Start Pack liquids, 2 of those.
You got it, Robin? Mm-hmm. Okay.
4 bottles of selenium. 4 bottles of selenium. 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily Capsules a month, and that's it. And I would consult a pharmacist and wean him off of the blood pressure medication immediately, because it's going to cause more harm than it's going to help, in my clinical opinion.
Okay,
Plus,
how do I
eliminate the 10 bad foods. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here. Join the live chat, thedrgliddenshow.tv. Now listen, if you're listening to us for the first time or the second time or the third time and you like what we are talking about and you are listening on terrestrial radio, then listen during the commercial breaks and call the number that the radio station gives out, because there are Youngevity representatives on the other end of that line waiting to take your call, answer your questions, and get you started with Youngevity. If a friend of yours told you about this radio program and you like what you hear, then get with them in order to get hooked up with Youngevity. And if you found me all by yourself and you're interested in what we have to talk about, the number to call, 855-347-3696. That's 855-347-3696. Let's go back to Robin in Charlotte and her guest from Oregon. Robin, what's your guest's name? I forgot. Come in, Robin.
I'm here.
Hey, Robin.
Here.
Okay. Tell me your guest's name again.
Nancy.
Nancy. Okay, Nancy. So, do you have a follow-up question there, Nancy?
Yes. My husband read, because he read all about it on the internet, and he said taking too much selenium can kill you.
He's
so
wrong.
How
Your
much selenium should he be taking every day?
Well, look, here's the problem, okay? And, I don't know how to be politically correct about this. But, okay, so here's the deal. If your husband had a bad tooth, he probably wouldn't go to the internet to try to figure out how to fix it himself. He would how to give himself his own root canal and order his own root canal tools from the internet, and he wouldn't do that. But when it comes to chronic health conditions, people have no problem whatsoever trying to figure it out themselves. When a better idea for him, for anybody else, is to go to a physician, licensed and regulated, whose job it is to understand the ins and outs of medical nutrition. And, the only reason that people don't do that is because they don't know that we exist. And even if they do know we exist, they don't know who we are. And they look down their noses at us because the MDs have convinced them that I'm a quack. So the person that wrote the book on selenium is Gerhard Schrauzer. Gerhard Schrauzer is a close personal friend of the founder of Youngevity, Dr. Joel Wallach. Gerhard Schrauzer's office is at Youngevity International Headquarters in San Diego. Gerhard Schrauzer was the one that proved that selenium is, in fact, an essential nutrient. And you're right, you can overdose selenium, but you can also overdose water. You can also overdose
let me just ask
sunlight.
You real quick. Robin wrote down all the stuff you said. Is all that 4 bottles of selenium and all those other bottles, is that supposed to be all in the first month to take?
Yeah, that's per month. Per month.
And how many months does he do that?
Well, the recommendation is a great question. So the recommendation for anybody intervening with Foundation Medical Nutrition with Youngevity is 90 days.
Okay,
90
so
days.
he should do that for 90 days.
Yeah, 3 months. Now, look, it might take 9 months for him to get on the other side of the enlarged heart. It might take 3 months. I have no idea. Everybody's different. But
okay, so how do we find out? Do we go to the doctors and have some kind of test? Or
yes, well, it's the same test that they did to tell you that the walls of the heart are thickening, right? So there's 2 things to do here and 2 things to understand.
Okay.
Number one, we need to have some type of objective measurement done at some time in the future. So if it were me, I would wait 6 months, and then I would go back to the MD's office and have them check to see whether the walls of my heart are less thick. That's what I would do. So they would do the same test that they just performed, right?
Okay.
Now, in the meantime, while you're waiting, those 6 months, you want your husband to look to see how he feels. His mood, his energy, his sleep, his appetite, his digestion, his weight, across the board, how he feels. Because specifically, this is not, an enlarged heart treatment program. This is a treatment for your husband. right? It's a holistic medical nutrition intervention, and it will have far-reaching effects ostensibly in many different areas of his body. So as he goes down the road, when he starts to feel better, his sleep gets better, his mood gets better, his energy gets better, his attitude gets better, his weight gets better, whatever improves, those are all hallmarks, subjective hallmarks, that the internal conditions, which we can only measure with objective means, are also improving. So this is what we counsel people. Give medical nutrition a try for 90 days, and inside of those 90 days, look for something remarkably positive to change. And when you get a remarkably positive change somewhere in your body, just maintain the discipline and measure, things effectively and prudently. If it were me, I would be, 6 months would be fine. Unless, of course, he starts getting, chest pains and horripilations and stuff like that. Of course, you need to be smart moving forward. But as long as he's symptom-free and improving a little bit every couple of weeks, then you're good to go. And those are, in fact, the hallmarks of a positive program. Now, so let me just give you a clue about the side effects of too much selenium. Because you can overdose with selenium, but it's really, really hard. I've never seen anybody do it. I've read about it. If you start to take too much selenium, a number of things can happen. Your fingernails start to get brittle. Your hair will start to get dry, brittle, and or maybe start to fall out. And or your breath will start to get a fishy or garlicky odor to it. Now, if any of those things happen, that means you need to just back off of the selenium dose. So I would back off of the dose by 3 capsules a day, right? He'll be taking 12 capsules a day if you get 4 bottles.
Okay.
4 with breakfast, 4 with lunch, 4 with dinner, and they're small caps. There's no problem doing that.
Okay.
So if any of those side effects of too much selenium happen, then he just withdraws 1 bottle of selenium a month, no harm and no foul, until those symptoms go away. And selenium toxicity would only be at play if he were to develop one of those symptoms and then continue to take that dose of selenium for 6 more months.
Okay, so it was dry.
Yeah, dry skin, dry hair, dry or brittle hair.
Hair, okay.
Dry or brittle
bad breath.
fingernails.
Okay, fingernails.
A fishy or garlicky breath on a consistent basis, not after an Italian meal, right?
Okay.
And so that's it. And if you're just mindful of those things, then there's absolutely, positively no harm. And honestly, if he wants to be concerned about something, he needs to be much more concerned about having not enough selenium in his body than he needs to be concerned about possibly somehow getting too much. No kidding.
Okay, and what is the lack? Then it's just going to thicken more, is what you're saying.
Yeah. And, if he doesn't have enough selenium, so that the walls of his heart are enlarging, then there are also a number of other nutrients that he doesn't have, and they're also producing net negative, effects on his body, which eventually will show up. And I bet if I was to sit him down and do a questionnaire, like how's your mood, how's your energy, how's your sleep, do you have aches and pains, do you have heartburn, do you get restless legs at night in bed, or whatever, I bet I could. So all of that are direct indications of chronic undiagnosed nutrient deficiencies, and we expect all of that to go away. And those things are, in fact, the hallmark of a successful nutrition intervention.
That's amazing.
It is amazing, and you won't believe it when you see
After
it.
the 6 months, and they say the thickening is either gone or it's less. Does he continue on all that until it's completely gone?
Then you call us back. Then you call us back.
Completely go away.
No. Then you call us back, and we do a maintenance dose because
Will this thickening ever completely go away?
Yes, I've seen it go away all the time. I mean, they've proved it in pre-World War II Germany. I mean, we see it happen on a regular basis.
Okay.
Now he needs to be compliant with the program, right?
Okay.
he needs to stop eating the 10 bad foods. If he does the program, then I would expect a noticeable and measurable resolution within 6 months.
Okay.
So,
All right, Dr. Glidden. Thank you
all right.
so much.
Well, you guys are the greatest, Robin.
Well, thank
Keep up the
you.
good work down there. Appreciate your patience and your trust. How's your husband doing, Robin?
He's doing fine. You know we miss you here.
I know you guys miss me. How's your little son? How's he doing? Darien.
Yeah, he miss you too. You know he's a senior now.
He is.
Yes, he is.
My, oh my, how time flies.
Well, thank you very much, because I
All
want
right,
my husband.
Yeah, I know. I can understand that. Well, 1 week at a time here, and look for noticeable and measurable improvement, and that's what drives us forward. That's how we do it, folks. I think we have time for a couple more phone calls before we end up here. Let's go to Myrtle Beach and talk to Jim. Hey, Jim, thanks for hanging on. You are live. James, come on in, Jim. Myrtle Beach.
Hello, Jim. Hello, Doctor.
How are you, man?
Pretty good. I've got fellas that I want to talk to you about. One of them is 185 pounds, 65 years old, and 5'6" inches.
Yep.
His first problem is the AFibs. They wanting to put a pacemaker in him.
Yeah. Well, they're going to kill him.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to watch the webinar that I did on AFib, because if you tell people what to do to support and promote healthy heartbeats, they're not going to believe you. But if they watch the webinar that I did, they may. And because it's the heart, people are less inclined to do anything outside of the box because it's their heart, and everybody's afraid of dying, and quite frankly, they've got it reversed. Because if they continue to go to the medical doctor, they're just going to get all the wrong advice, and they're going to be in more trouble than they are now. People need to listen to what we have to say about this particular condition. I did a really good webinar about this, right? It's available for insiders on my website. So I would check that out, email him a link to the website, to the webinar that I did. And that's how I would handle that. But basically we believe that this is caused by degenerative disc disease, and so the program here is to support and promote healthy bones and joints. He needs to go to a chiropractor. He needs to put some ice on this, but I lined the whole thing up in my webinar. All right, you have another question?
Yes, he also has IBS, irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? So, of course, we believe that the operative root cause of that is consistent consumption of all the 10 bad foods, with special emphasis on wheat, barley, rye, and oats. So, eliminate the 10 bad foods, add the root beer belly to his program, and if you want, you can also give 1 or 2 bottles of Mackey Plus a month. 1 or 2 bottles of Mackey Plus a month to try to help calm down things in
What is that product now?
the gut. MAQUI Plus.
Oh, MAQ.
Despite what...
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Thanks so much for spending 2 hours with me this afternoon. I hope you learned something. When you look up the root word of doctor in Latin, it translates to teacher. And I took a vow in 1991 as a naturopathic physician, which I take very seriously to help educate people. There are simple things that you need to know, simple steps that everybody can take right now, today, to dramatically increase your odds of increasing your body's ability to optimize its structure and function. And if you stick around with us long enough, you will hear testimonials that will bring you to tears. Let's finish up the show in Missouri with Darlene. Hey, Darlene, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hello, Dr. Glidden.
How are you? Thanks so much for calling.
I'm good. Thank you for doing what you're doing. We really appreciate you.
Well, you're welcome very much. Somebody's got to do it.
My situation, my son-in-law had an accident when he was a child, about 5-6 years old. He fell on his head, and he's found out that he's had pain in the shoulder and neck area for years. And he went to a naturopath, and he found out that his neck does not have the bend in it that's normal.
Yeah.
Would minerals help that?
Well, yeah, so there's a number of things going on here, right? Because remember, bones, every part of the body, everything in the body replaces and regenerates itself all of the time. The bones are no exception. Bones are regenerating themselves all of the time. So when anybody has had any type of trauma to any part of the body, in this case it was his musculoskeletal system, it is prudent to give his musculoskeletal system some nutritional support. So, he needs bone and joint support. That's not a bad idea. But the chiropractor should have advised him. Well, he went to see a naturopath, so I'm not sure that the naturopath would know this. But there are exercises that he can do, which over time will put the correct curve back in his neck. There are. I've done it. I used to have a funky curve, and now I have a good curve because I did the exercises correctly. So he needs to visit a chiropractor's office, a good chiropractor. Now, I love chiropractors, but let's be honest. Chiropractors are just like anybody else, right? It's like lawyers, like plumbers, like electricians, like carpenters. There's good ones and there's bad ones. So I would ask around town who's a good chiropractor. I would call their office and see if the chiropractor is knowledgeable about the therapy to put the correct curve in the neck back. It's simple exercises with a couple of adjustments, a couple times a month from a chiropractor. It's really not that difficult a thing to do, but it takes time. It might take 3 months, might take 6 months, but persistent effort over time really produces a lot of good results. And this would be a very good thing for him to fix because everything in the body is connected, right? And if the top of the spine is straight, that's going to have ripple effects on the rest of the spine. And that's not going to be a good thing over time. Eventually, when he's 50 or 60 years old, he's going to start to develop some big, bad voodoo daddy problem somewhere else in his back. And the reason that it happened is because the curve in his neck was never fixed. So preventively, this is a really good thing to get on the other side of here, but you have to find a licensed medical professional who knows how to do it. So call around, find a chiropractor who can do it and get him on board with the program. Now, in addition to this, Darlene, the recommendation, of course, is for bone and joint support. And I think the best way to do that is one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, 2 bottles of selenium, and 1 bottle of plant-derived minerals per 100 pounds of body weight per month, plus 1 bottle of Cal Toddy. So that's 1 Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, 2 selenium, 1 plant-derived minerals per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and then on top of that, 1 bottle of Cal Toddy. Of course, eliminate the 10 bad foods. Appreciate you very much. Regretfully, we are out of time. Ladies and gentlemen, God willing and the creek don't rise, I'm back at it tomorrow afternoon, 3 o'clock Central Time. And tomorrow night, it's free. It's free. My anti-aging worldwide seminar. Go to the website now for details. Until we meet in person, I remain your steadfast advocate for health, Dr. Peter Glidden. Live long and prosper.